Good evening. My name's Cuan,
I'm Anton.
and we're here tonight to talk a little bit about fighting. And welcome to lovely North Carolina. It's hotter than a devil's taint today, but it's going to be a 30-degree cooler day on Friday, so that's the weather. But beautiful Thagard's Lake is behind us here, and Anton is standing out there in front of our makeshift demo pel for these purposes. And what we're going to talk about tonight is some general philosophies of pel work and training. And we're going to show you a little bit about righty fighting lefty. Now, to keep it real, Doug lives about a mile from me. We spend an inordinate amount of time together, and neither of us is symptomatic or concerned about affecting the other. And we literally spend pretty much all our time together, so we're hosed either way. So
We eat dinner together 4 days a week.
yeah, so there you go. Anyway, but otherwise we're rigorously practicing our social distancing and staying away from everyone else. So anyway, here we go. Your Grace, Anton, you want to start with some pel stuff, and we'll go from there?
Okay. So for me, let me say this, the first thing and the most important thing I think about pel work. And the most important thing to pel work is what I would consider honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to know that just going out and throwing blows isn't the answer. Throwing blows accurately and throwing blows correctly is what counts. If you're going to go out and throw 500 blows a day, if only 300 of them are any good, then you've only thrown 300 blows. So being honest with yourself about what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. I like to think that when people start on pel work, I like you to aim at something that's about the size of a softball if you've just starting pel work back from a break. Do that for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I'd move you down to the size of an orange. After 2 more weeks, I'd move you down to something about the size of a golf ball. I think ultimately where you're going is you'd like to be able to feel confident that you could get within a quarter's distance of hitting a rivet if you wanted to. And that's what pel work exists for. It exists for us to refine our blow generation as well as our accuracy. And to do that, you have to just be bluntly honest with yourself whether you're doing a good job or not. I think it really comes down to there's really, for most intent and purposes, there's 2 blows. There's a flat snap and there's a wrap. And then there's all the other stuff you do with it. Now, as a left-handed fighter, I believe the most important aspect of your blow is the return. Because I'm typically fighting somebody who, as soon as I throw this blow, they're going to throw a counter punch. And if my return looks like something like this, they're going to hit my arm. His Grace will show you that a little later on. If I get him out here, I come right back.
Do it again.
See the way the sword pops up in the air. I'm trying to get that so that I get the momentum coming forward. I throw it out. I'm going to catch that thing coming forward. Most of the time, I'm keeping my hand just slightly above and in front of my shoulder when I'm throwing so that I have the momentum to go to the next shot. Everything has to work just like that. You've got to get back so that you don't get hit. If you throw a leg blow, even as a wrap, just collapse it and fold it right up. Now this is a blow, this is a return that Cuan and I have worked together on for way too many years. You're out for the wrap. Because of the special tendencies of righties and lefties to follow each other's blows, I like to return it right up my body so that I get a passive block all the way in. And once again, I'm keeping the hand high. I keep a fairly loose grip in my sword until I'm ready to whip it forward.
Your Grace, can you really slowly? I'm gonna increase the magnification on this and change the orientation of the camera a little bit. Can you really focus in on and break down the return where you collapse the wrist and pendulum the sword back into another blow?
Okay, so this is going to come off a wrap to the leg.
All right.
Throw the blow, and at this point, I'm fully extended. My arm is straight. I'm out. may have had more bend in my knees or whatever I am from where I'm standing. From here, I turn the hand over, I relax the grip, I fold up my hand to my face. I'm going to try to hit myself in the ear, and I'm trying to keep my elbow across my sternum at all times. I can't do that for real, but that keeps my arm tucked in. So it looks like this.
Okay, let's see that transition again from releasing. You've thrown the wrap, you've made contact, you drove it in, and now collapse and turn that wrist. Does everybody see how the elbow dips in, the wrist releases and lets the tip and the blade travel to the outside of the arm? Again, please. Now, what happens if somebody throws a wrap into you during your return? Does that block it?
Yes, it does.
If a righty throws it?
That is the entire purpose of doing this, is it gives me a passive block up. So as I throw the blow, hip comes forward. As I start to do the return, my hip is pulling back. But I am forward with my hip at this point, and it's open. So by bringing this through the target area, I give myself a passive block. I would say that half of the fighters I fight that are really good want to try to counterpunch a lefty.
Mm-hmm.
And by wanting to counterpunch, if I throw at their leg, they are often going to throw right back at mine. Therefore, I'm fighting people who are longer armed, stronger, faster, better fighters than I am. I have to have a defense. I cannot shoot my shield through my arm. So my sword does that. And even when it gets hit coming in, because I'm concentrating bringing the basket up, even if it gets hit and kicks in, it doesn't affect my next blow.
All right, keep talking. I'm coming down.
Okay? So, from thinking about this and working on it the same way for way too many years, it's become really easy for me. And someone asked me today on the way home from work to explain what it felt like when that worked right. And I said it really feels like if you're in an old 5-speed car and you're going from 4th to 5th, it's just that natural up, slide, and just relax. It's just really easy. Been doing this for almost 40 years. Maybe I have done it for 40 years. Never had an arm injury that wasn't a break from getting hit with a sword. But nothing from the way I throw blows have I ever had a ligament or arm injury, because I don't believe in putting stress on that part of the body.
So what Anton's talking about, hi, I'm Cuan. What Anton's talking about, if you haven't figured out yet, he's a lefty, I'm a righty. So what Anton's talking about is a lot of times the righties are going to show, or what we call bait the leg, right? So I may kick my heater over, if I'm a heater fighter, I may kick that heater over just a little bit and show him a little square of the inside thigh, right? And then when I do this, I'm gonna catch it, so that means my hip rotates this way, all right? I'm gonna catch that, and this is up here in case it was a feint to the head. But once I realize he's committed to the leg, I'm gonna throw a wrap, which means I'm gonna drive my elbow into my ribs, and this thing's gonna whip up this way. But you see how he caught it on the return. I'm gonna do it slow. He throws that, and I went up here. Okay, do you see that? So by drawing the sword up the outside of his body, by keeping the elbow tight, he has a block, okay? He has a block. Now, I developed a block when a lefty throws hard at the leg, which is I throw a flat snap, and they're going to block and throw the leg, because sometimes when you throw a flat snap and the lefty blocks the head, they'll throw the leg automatic, right? I'll throw the flat snap. No, I'm sorry. Strike that. If I throw the leg wrap, right, and I think they're going to return a leg wrap, I draw a return up the body.
Same thing.
I draw a return up the body, because what happens then is, you know, wham! And then when he throws back, this thing ends up hitting the sword or the shield on the way back, and then I recover and come across. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's talk about feet for a second. And we're gonna talk about Pell and blow delivery and everything else, but I think it's really important when you're talking about righty fighting lefty is where your feet should be. So I'm gonna ask the bad guy. The lefty is always the bad guy, right? So I'm gonna ask the bad guy, where do you want your feet in relation to my feet? Now, I'm gonna tell you right now that when I'm fighting with a heater, my sword foot is behind my shield foot. And what I mean by that is some people fight sort of a basic modified horse stance, but I'm going to take that foot and drop it back here, okay? The reason I'm going to do that is I pull this shoulder, this hip, this leg, I pull everything out of the way, okay? So I'm right here, all right? So where do you want to be?
I want to be at a slight angle, cutting off your movement to my left-hand side.
And so where's your foot in relation to my shield foot?
My foot is slightly further into you.
Does everybody see that? Okay. He is inside me with his foot. Okay.
I feel very safe for any blow on what would be his offside to me. I can see the headshot coming for a long time, and it's very difficult for him standing there for him to manipulate my shield so that I can't raise it and pick up the block. If I allow him to do this, I now cannot block the offside because he just simply opens his shield as he throws it, and my shield is completely paralyzed. But by having this angle, we're in the opposite relationship at that point. I'm safe to move.
See what his elbow did? His elbow comes up, which sort of stops my hip from turning.
It's a subtle thing, but it's all the difference in the world. When you see this with shields, you're saying, you can tell it on the bottom with the feet, you can tell it with the shield is whose shield edge is slightly further over than the other. The shield edge controls the wrapping edge in offhanded fighting. Thank you. So if I'm fighting Cuan right here, Cuan's controlling everything on the outside of the fight. He has this edge of his sword that he's got to get around. I have to get around my edge and then his edge. I can't do it from here. But if he throws a blow, I have to respond to it with either my sword, my block, with my shield, which is a very complicated block. I got to go a long distance versus a shield, or I got to drop my feet back even further and get less offensive. So when I'm fighting, what I like to do is come in, move my feet, bring him over, and then come across. At this point, I can go to either side of the body. And I can go there fairly confidently because I can put a little, I don't want to push his shield around, but if I'm going to throw it offside, hold your shield up. All I'm going to do is tap it when I go over. I just want to tap it. I don't want to manipulate it. I don't want to grab it. I don't want to slip my hand out and take it. I just want, for the fraction of a second that the sword is crossing, for him to have it come back at his face a little bit so that he's got to gain control of it. Likewise, if I'm going to throw the leg shot, all I'm going to do is put a little pressure down on the bottom of it. Just like that, just enough to delay it. And if my edge is on the outside, the typical lefty shot we all know is that. I mean, we're all raised and learned how to throw a wrap at a certain point. Lefties, throwing the wrap at the ribs is not what I would recommend in that situation. You have a taller opponent, you have an opponent who's cocked. I have to wait for him to block, throw a shot, and I have to block it. And at this point on his return, I get to throw, and I can go right into the arm, or if he clears fast enough, I'll go right into the armpit. The ribs are an easy block. The arm going back or the armpit is not an easy block.
Now, does everybody see that? What we're talking about, his shield is past his lead edge here is past my lead edge, and so he's got control. He's got initiative. Everybody see that? Okay.
And if you stand here like this, if I look, it's also more difficult for Cuan to see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
If I come to here and drop,
Don't know where a sword is.
and you have to be able to throw without moving your shield. An absolute must.
Now, as a righty,
Yes.
if I get my shield, if I get my foot to here and my shield is here, look at that.
Same thing.
I didn't move my shield. I threw behind the point of his shield and up into the inside of his thigh.
And I feel like my shield's in a pretty good position.
It is in a pretty good position, but I can see all of that. Now it's in a better position.
Yep.
I probably wouldn't throw that shot,
Well, it'd be good.
but because it's a little close to the knee. But what I might do is this. I might, if I get my foot there, I might do this, which makes him drop that shield, and then I might just clear straight across here. Because if I step across and I do this, I haven't done anything with my sword, right? I haven't committed. I've just dropped my hand and made him read leg shot. So when I come to here, it's nothing for me to then change that to this, okay? And if that's his block, it's nothing for me to come here, drop the back foot, and come here.
Yep.
And that drop step is very important when fighting lefty. I don't know if everybody saw that, but the idea is I come to here, plant, but it's very lightly planted. I threaten this side, right, with something, but then I drop my foot to here. And see how he had to drop his sword back to block. Okay? So one more time. Make sure we're in front of the camera. I step here, threaten. Step here, threaten. Now, I don't really care if I step on his foot. Sorry.
Fine.
Sorry. I step here, threaten, aggressive position. You know, and here I might do this. He has to worry about this. But I might do this. What I did was I took my sword foot, which was here, and I literally stepped to here, and the sword landed at the same time. Everybody see that? I went from here.
And the other thing you did is the same thing we talked about earlier. You gave the back of my shield a little tap as you're coming around.
Yeah, I don't even notice that anymore, but
Right.
yeah, I just...
And that's all it takes for me not to be able to slide. And it also prevents me from moving my front foot effectively when that shield comes in. I can't move the direction I want to.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You don't want to knock the opponent over. You don't want to get a hold called. You don't want any of that kind of mess. You just want that fraction of a second to go this, to cover this much distance. That's all the distance you need to cover is how thick that shield is.
Yeah, let's talk about shield wrestling for a second, okay? It's ugly enough to watch righty on righty, but righty on lefty, here's what happens. You come up here, you think you're clever and you're going to do this. There's a whole lot of pain coming to you from either side. You pull hard this way, he's going to throw that. You know, if he pulls back, he's going to throw the wrap into something ugly, or he's just going to flat snap you right to the ribs because this is where your shield is out here, okay? So we're just talking about influencing with our shields. A little tap, a slide, something to slow down his shield movement, okay? We're not going to wrestle, okay? So it's the same reason that my frequent, you know, my opening gambit against a heater fighting lefty.
Take a half step back. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Is, and you notice how my foot is back, but I'm not like this, right? I have to have my feet gathered because I'm going to step, all right?
If I see his feet are spread wide apart, that's an open invitation for me to throw the blow at initiation and to come in because he has no movement except to go backwards.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to respond properly if his legs are too far apart.
So I've gathered my feet. However I was standing when I was way out of range, right? I've moved into range and I've gathered my feet, right? And now I'm ready. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm just showing that. All right. Now you notice I haven't thrown anything. I've just shown that. All right. I feel good about my forearm because I got my corner here. I feel good about my leg because I haven't committed to anything. All right. And once I do that, if he closes, if I see the edge of that shield go above his eyes, and it usually will go up just above the eyes, this is my next move. Everybody see that?
Go back and do it again. So you do the pump fake. I'll just raise the corner just a little bit, and then
Right.
you explode into the leg.
So it's pop.
Once again, look at the shield. The shield is preventing my edge from moving smoothly. What else does it prevent? It prevents me from rotating with him because I have the friction of his shield preventing the rotation. Look where his feet are, pretty close in to stepping in with me.
What a lot of people do when they try to do this against the lefty is they step too far to the outside.
Right.
So they do the feint fine, and then they go, and they get hit, and they get blocked. Because out here is no good. It's got to be a pass as close to him as you can. The other thing is, when I throw that feint, right, and then I step, I can't go, hey, did I get him? And stay here. Because what if I didn't?
Or what if you just got the leg and I'm throwing while I drop?
Yeah, because Anton throws while he drops better than about anybody, and he can hit me in the back of the helmet. So once I deliver that and I feel that contact, I'm carrying my shield up and over, and I get this shield put back, and I rotate back to here. Does everybody see that? I rotate back to where I'm facing him here, and I throw a shot as I'm going out. I don't know if that's on video, but
Okay.
so that's
let's do
the
this.
idea. All
Do
right.
many people die to me when I'm on my knees?
Oh yeah. Okay. The height of a fighter's hand, the height of a fighter is determined by his hand. Okay? That means that a fighter on his knees who knows how to use the spring in his legs can explode upward and turn that energy rotational and bring that around in a flat arc, right? And hit you in the head. All right, so watch this. So I come in here against Doug, and I'm going to try and get over to here. You see that? Right there. Okay? Just hit me in the neck. And he would hit you in the neck, trust me. The back of the neck. All right? So if I don't carry my shield up and through against a lefty, that's what's going to happen, right? We all feel like, God, I want to get to that meat over there. I want to get over there. And so we make a big step. Ha! You know? Now he went underneath and then comes back to the back. All right? So I'm not going to play that game with him, right? So what I'm going to do with him in that situation is, he's on his knees, is I'm going to show here, and if he throws to the leg, I got it with my sword, and if that shield comes over that, my next step isn't there, my next step is there.
Right.
Guess who wins now?
This is a fairly easy block for him.
Yeah, I mean, I can block this like that, I can block with my sword, and what's coming now is straight down the back.
Right.
And if straight down the back is blocked, it's an easy return to the wrap. So straight down the back
Yeah.
to the armpit.
I generally say good in that situation, don't need to get hit.
I do too. That's an advanced skill. It's saying good before the blow hits you,
And hope.
and hope they pull it.
Yep.
Hope they open their hand. Does that make sense? All right. So the 100 blows a day challenge. It's a great idea. So make sure we're throwing 100 blows a day properly. Okay. Too many people. Was watching some video this the other day. Too many people are throwing their offsides like this. Okay? What's the problem with that? Well, if this is my opponent's shoulders, roughly, and this is his temple, and this is hips, and this is knee, right? Well, then any blow that comes like that, that's an offside, if his shield is here, that offside, my hand is lower than the shield. And if my hand is lower than the shield, that offside's not connected. Does everybody understand that? There's a big plane in here, and that offside's not connected. All right, everybody see that? All right. If I throw an offside like this, that ain't hitting anything. The only way that hits him in the head is if I deliver that offside. So people do a flat snap to an offside. I see them do the flat snap pretty well, keeping the hand parallel, right? And then they go like that, or like that. What we want to see is that, that, okay, to that. See the difference? My hand's above his shield.
And also stay in front of his body during the transition.
Okay? So, flat snap. Okay? I'm not going low. Now I'm reversing the hip. Same thing with the legs. I've been watching people throw leg wraps like this. Don't do that. Because I may have been aiming to hit above the knee, but where's the tip going? It's either going into the shin, the calf or the back leg, right? Because people stand like this, you throw against a righty, that's going into the back calf, all right? So take the time to throw that hand down towards the earth like this, elbow into the ribs. See how it comes up?
But also there's another important thing too. So throw the one down.
You mean like this?
Yes. This is a much more difficult shot to return because of the angle versus throwing the shot correctly when you're going to rebound nicely off of it and be able to bring that right back up.
Everybody see that? So now you can see where my knee is in relationship to this pill, right? Okay. So if a guy's got a heater or a rectangle held at an angle, it's a lot easier to get in here like here. Dig here. Dig here. See how it's coming up? It's coming up and in. It's not coming down like that. That's lazy. And that'll hit a lot of knees and shins, right? Right? But this, it's coming up and in. Okay? Up and in. And the 1 inch line is perfectly legal and you need to throw for it. But don't throw for it in a way that 60% of the time you're going to be low where you're practicing.
Okay, so the most important leg shot that a righty can throw against a lefty is being able to throw at the shield leg with an inside wrap. This is a very simple shot to throw that requires 100 hours of practice before you go out and just throw it in tournament. But we have practiced this. We used to practice it just if the other person would look you in the eye. If they look down, you got to throw your sword at, you got to hit them. And this is about building the knowledge of where you are. So hitting this leg when it's back is going to be hard. But the front leg is open, but it's not open for a snap.
Everybody see where I'm trying to get to? I'm trying to throw to the inside of the knee.
So if you slide your right foot forward as you deliver, not forward, but sideways, 6 inches as you deliver, you're going to come right inside that left thigh of mine. I mean, right thigh. Whoa, yeah. It's exactly what happens. Righties have to learn to throw. Lefties, I guarantee you, this has got to be a bread and butter shot to you. You've got to be able to stand in front of your opponent and without looking down, realize, take your shield stance, that if his shield is like that, I'm not going to throw it. But if he brings that tip up, like he's protecting a flat snap, this is automatically there. I don't have to look at it. I know because the shield went there.
Now,
Likewise,
you see, Doug was not giving me that from a starting stance. I had to move my foot. However, once you start to move, that may open up because righties do this to lefties all the time. You're not hitting me in the ribs.
right, but I'm going to get that leg because you think I'm going to go to the other one.
Did everybody see that? All right, we're going to turn, Doug. Stand on the end of that stick right there. All right. Everybody see the point of my heater, right? Now I'm worried about Doug. So I'm going to really extend that over like I've been taught. But look what that does. Oh, hell. There's the inside of my thigh.
And if I just flex my knees a little bit when I throw it, and I squeeze the blade as it swings, the tip goes up. So I can get down fairly safe and just squeeze the blow, and I'm closing the fist when it's getting there.
And that can hit really hard.
It does hit hard, and it also hits in some tender areas. Not a lot of people armor the inside of their thighs. And typically that armor stops. So throwing that, learning to throw it in practice, be gentle.
Right. Be real gentle. Real gentle.
Because it'll stop somebody from fighting for the evening, and that's not your intention.
Right. Now, a lot of people now are fighting with different shapes. You know, a lot of people are fighting sword leg 4. I think that's really exciting. But that presents a lot of challenges for fighting a lefty, particularly. Okay? So,
You want me to go?
if I'm up here like this, right? Okay, notice how I've brought my shield over. Now, if he throws offside, I'm gonna have to get that. If he shows it, I'm gonna have to get that with my sword, right? I'm gonna do a hanging block. So you throw an offside. Right? I'm gonna try it. Missed it. Try again. Alright? But what if that was a feint? All right, you see the difficulty. So when you're starting out fighting lefties, even with, center grip, and you got the right foot forward to get your offense out there and get generating some offense, I might seriously consider switching my stance up with a lefty, right?
Now that's more problematic to me than any other stance.
My foot is back, so it's outside of his shield foot and behind me, right? So I'm here.
I can't get to his sword arm. I'll show you. It's an easy block for him with the shield. I can't get over here because if I do this, he's going to just throw it right in my ribs. He doesn't care about my arm. Anything I open in this position with him cocked means my ribs get hit. He'll trade that head for my ribs and we'll stand up and do it again. There's going to be a limited number of times I'm going to get up doing that. Just plain and simple. Just like if I'm standing here and he's cocked and I throw the leg, he's just going to drill me in the head. Yeah, he'll just gladly take the leg. Yeah, thank you very much. You got my leg. Great shot. I'm moving on in the tournament. You're sitting down. So, you have to be circumspect about what you throw versus where you are in the fight. So if we're both cocked, it's very difficult to throw a wound as an opening shot from either one of us at this point. Just plain and simple. Or go right up to the head. I'm a little hesitant to throw them right now because we don't have helmets on and we do get excited.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. So, but after I've thrown a blow, if I throw a blow and he blocks it, he has his full repertoire of what to throw on my return.
And that is what I do, by the way.
That's what every good righty does against lefties is they try to counterpunch him. Good lefties should be doing the same thing against the good righties. And because you're so open to each other unless you're just playing something at range. And what's the target at range for me? It's his leg. That the leg is the first thing in. So if I can throw at the leg, I can survive the first shot. But if I try to move in and do something clever, or like a lot of lefties do, move in and try to throw the offside as an opening shot, oh, it's ridiculous. You can't do it. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for him to get his stance a little bit wide. As we're standing here, hit him, I'll probe a little bit, come like that. And what I'm ultimately looking for is that shot right down there. I'm looking for that as I'm moving shield side on him. So I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to drop shield side. Because I'm moving away from the sword. I'm going to move in safe. And from here, if I get it or I don't get it, my next stance is to come across and come back. I'm not taking a big step running away. I'm not trying to get out of range. I'm just trying to make it a little longer distance for that blood to come to me. And that generally is all I need because my shield is staying in a position to block on edge.
See, he's going away from the sword. So if I manage to get the block, right? If I manage to drop and get the block, but now I'm going to lose this exchange eventually.
Yep.
Which is why I said we never stay against the lefty with our leg like this. We keep going.
Cuan never fights in front of me. He starts in front of me, but our fights end with one of us beside the other one. And whoever's gotten deeper usually wins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be lazy and do it.
Here, step forward towards me a little bit. So where I generally like to end up fighting Anton is here.
And who wouldn't?
This is where I'd like to be. This is the winner, okay? And he's usually relatively the same position against me, but my feet are crossed. So it's pretty ugly. All right, let's do some lefty Pell stuff, okay? So if I'm standing here, right, and I'm a righty, I'm going to get my shield.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if I'm standing here, all right, and he comes in, and we're going to pretend that I'm the Pell, right? He's got the Pell in front of me, so he's not going to be hitting me. My foot's back. I'm in a good defensive stance against the lefty. I can do this, you know, I can do this, I can block here. My shield's in a good position, nice big heater. Where's his open? Go ahead.
My opening is his front left leg. That's where I'm going to go. And I'm going to go there like this. I'm going to come to his sword side, and I'm going to threaten his sword side. Just like that.
Everybody see that? Do it
I
again.
come in here on top. I've got to deliver this. I've got to start it like I'm coming right to his head, and then I'm going to drop down. And I'm turning it over into a wrap as I go. That's the only thing open against him for me right there that does not expose me. Now, if I throw at his head, watch what happens. It looks like you can throw at his head either side. You see a lot of lefties say, oh my, the shield's flat across it, let me throw the offside. Here comes the offside. It's just too easy to really get hit hard in the arm or the ribs or the leg. The leg is for free, but he might as well take the kill at that point. If I throw onside blow when his shield's across like that and he's cocked up like that, once again, every one of us is trained how to block your head on the opening shot. We're all pretty good at it. So that's not going to be a shot that works. But what I want him to do, just like he wants me to do when he starts his initiative against me, he wants me to respect the headshot. I have to make him respect the headshot. Now, the one shot I have that's righties have also, but don't practice it enough, that lefties throw more of, is when he's in that stance. If I feel good about the wrapping range, which means I may do this little shift in, may pull my foot out, I'm going to go to his arm. And I may go to his arm a couple times, just like that, and then I'm going to turn it back and come up cross high. But you see, I came high. Boom. I'm not coming like this. That's never going to work. Boom.
Everybody see why chopping isn't going to work? I mean, just if I don't move my shield, if I just rotate to catch the arm, and he chops, he just chops down on the offside.
You don't have to move anything.
It's an automatic block.
This is not about the height of the fighter. Arthur touched on it earlier. The height of the basket hilt is the height of the fighter. I'm comfortable fighting from my knees as much as I am fighting up because I realize that if I go straight up with this, I'm as tall as anybody wants to be.
All right, can you drop to your knees right here and show them on the pel a shot to the temple? And Anton has terrible knees, okay?
Yep.
But he can still do this. All right, everybody see that? Do it again. Now, you see me from a height comparison.
But see the shield. The shield doesn't move. The way I do it is I come to here and I hold. And at this point, what I'm holding for, it doesn't mean that I stop completely, but I can. I only want to throw at an opening. So I'm waiting to see the opening before I throw. I'm not just throwing at the shield or where the head I want it to be. I want to make sure that I don't waste a blow. Hell, I'm almost 60 years old. I don't have a lot of blows to waste. It's just that simple.
So say I gather my feet against him and I try and step across because I'm going to suppress his shield. I think that's good doctrine, right?
And when he presses on my shield, watch what my left leg does, even when I'm on the ground. I move.
You see that? He dropped his left leg.
Just like you do, and I'm going to come right back into here.
See it? And I'm getting hit in the back of the head.
So before you say your knees are hurt and that's too hard, 9 knee surgeries and a year in a wheelchair. I can tell you, my knees hurt too. But if you practice it and you're careful with it, you can do just fine with it. You don't have to be the fastest guy out there, but you do have to be considered. You have to think about what your object is. In this situation, what I want to do is get back up. I would trade a double kill in this situation to get back up. What I won't do is throw a leg shot at this point if he's coming, because I'm going to lose. If he comes in and throws a shot and I block it, throw something at the head, boom, and now he retreats. As he retreats, I'm following with the leg every single time. I'm going to try to get this leg, not that one, because that one's got a better chance of the sword getting in the way. But I want to make the block, and then I want to come back.
Oh, see that? Front leg.
The front leg on the inside, very difficult not to get a good acknowledgement for that. People aren't used to getting hit there. And to be honest with you, it's easy for them. They can see the blow, they understand how it got there, and they're standing up and you're on your knees, it's in front of God and everybody, and they go, oh shit, that was dumb. So, that's what we're trying to do with that. And for me, it's a question of being mobile while you're on your knees. Cuan's coming sword side on me, I'm dropping it just like I am on my knees. If he's coming the other side, I'm gonna drop the other one. What I'm not gonna do, ever, is charge into him from my knees. That if he's coming at me, I'm gonna run and be stronger. I'm never gonna win this leverage. I'm gonna be flipped on my butt, upside down, and he's gonna be standing up going, hey, can I give you a hand? Are you okay? The marshals are gonna say, hey, you can't knock him over like that, and then I'm gonna be forced to say, he didn't, I tried to knock him over. So he gets to win the marshal fight, he gets to win the I tried to do something, couldn't do it fight, and now we gotta stand up and do it again. He's got all the morale points on his side at this point.
Now, so you're like, well, fine, you're showing the lefties how to kill the righties. Well, how do you kill an ornery lefty on his knees? Well, just because you start going in one direction doesn't mean you need to stay going in that direction. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to attack to the sword side. We're going to attack to the right side. Come up here, and if you don't mind being on your knees for a second.
Nope.
All right, so I've legged him, and I feel good about it, right? But now I'm looking at the lefty on his knees, and I have no targets below the waist now, right? And I still got all these targets up here, all this meat here for him to hit, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, once again, I'm going to gather my feet. I'm going to make a jab step this way. Boom. I'm going to feel the shield, right? And right here, notice how my sword is up here. Now, this foot, because I know he's going to rotate that way. I know he's going to counter-rotate. I'm going to drop this foot here. And as I do, I'm going to press my shield here, and I'm going to start going back. Now, he gets to there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my shield and step with my sword foot.
And I can't follow. Because of his shield rotation, I can't follow, even when I know he's going to do it. I know that's hard to see on the camera.
If I get there, that never loses. If I get jab step here across his shield, jab step across the face of his shield, survive that blow, right? And then drop step here, I call it a drop step here and throw here. I don't care if it hits, because the shield has to get it. It's the only option. Then, if I step aggressively, now I don't do this. A lot of people see all the stuff I do, they try and do it like this.
And then they're going to get hit.
I don't step to here. I step there as close to him as I can.
You also don't step point down on the shield.
No, I don't. The shield stays up, right. And I go. Everybody see how close I am to him? And I carry that shield up by my temple. Okay? All right, hop up.
We're done with hopping.
Yeah, well, climb up, climb up.
Woo!
All right. So, Pell work, 100 blows. 100 blows is great, okay? But we need to be able to hit our spots with 100 blows, and we need to be able to hit our spots thinking about what's in front of us. We need to think about, is my opponent a two-swordman? Is my opponent a sword and shield fighter? And you know, 85% of the people you encounter are going to be sword and shield, so you might as well master that part first. And that means we need to defeat along horizontal planes, okay? We're horizontal, we're parallel to the ground, all right? We won't worry about inside shield shots, but we're talking about horizontal. So, as the shield comes up, if you're righty on righty, you're going to get angles like this, which means if your hand is high and your tip dips, that's good news, right? So if my shield edge goes up like this, and if this hand is up high where the tape is, that sword blade can still rotate around to get to my head, okay? So what I'm saying is, I don't care if you're 5'1", 5'2", the idea is if the hand goes up, you can hit anybody, okay? So we go up and then we uncork, if that's what we need to do. So what we do when we're in tight, right? Even if we throw a punch across, the hand is rising. The hand is rising. Did that hit you? I apologize. Temporary flexible Pell. The real Pell's are on the front, but it's dirty up there. Okay, so the idea is, you see where the hand is? It's up, right? I raise my foot, that's bad form. All right, so, wham, okay? I'm getting over that shield, not like this, okay? Now, when I come to do the offside, all I have to do is take this elbow, bring it back the other way, and come that way.
But to make it do that, what do you do with your hand inside the basket hill so the elbow will do that?
I just roll it over.
You relax it,
I relax my hand entirely and just let it go limp.
and you squeeze it as it goes forward?
Squeeze it as it goes forward, that's it. Okay? So
You
none
want,
of this.
you want the hand to be closed and firm when it makes contact.
Want it closed and firm when it makes contact.
Lock down with the wrist, up to the elbow, up to the shoulder, driving force.
But as Paul describes it, when it's on its way, it's all a whip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out here at rain, just a whip, right? Just a whip, and then it gets hard, right? Okay, but
And the whip's the first weapon that breaks the sound barrier in human existence.
there you go. All right, the other thing that I try is every blow that comes in from the south is traveling north. Every blow that comes from the north is traveling south. I hope that makes sense. In other words, if I'm throwing wraps, I'm coming from the south, I'm coming from down, right? It's traveling up. There's a basic principle that if he twitches the leg to the side or whatever, I'm coming in the back of the thigh. If he steps forward, I'm going to come into the bottom of his rear end. If he comes more forward, I'm going to come into his ribs. Whereas if I aim that thing down, all I'm going to do is bottom out into his calf if he moves. All right? And then everything that's up high, my wraps, it's hand high, tip down. Does everybody see that? Hand high, tip down. Offsides, hand high, tip down. Okay. Same thing on the offside leg. If I see an opportunity for an offside leg, I'm going down, but my tip stays up. So I'm not throwing it like this. It also exposes my arm. I'm throwing it like this. Everybody see that? I'm up here, I'm threatening. Hip, leg, opposite shoulder, around the shield.
As long as the blows start the same way, it's much harder for your opponent to diagnose the block early on. If you work on your blows starting the same way and staying the same as long as possible, you're cutting down the reaction time for the bad guy to make the block.
So from here, I need to be able to do high, high, low, over, low, over, high, low, over. Everybody see that? It's an easy flow, and I relax the wrist, and I can pick it any way I want to. And I'm moving with my hips, right? I'm just flowing in and out of the combinations. Now, one of the things that Paul talks about is starting out of range. And Anton and I were talking about this before the video. It's very important. Now, if you want to put this into your Pell practice, what you might try doing is starting out of range of the Pell. So C plus range, as we call it, D range, where you cannot really reach your target. I can't reach my target from here, okay? But by gathering my feet, I can reach my target with a step, and I can let the blow lead me in. And Paul's book has a lot of good stuff on this, in terms of committing and not committing, right? So the idea is I'm standing here, right? And then the blow leads me in, right? So I start the blow, and now I'm in. I'm well in, right? I can start out here. In fact, when I was 24, that is where I start out here. I'd lead that flat snap, and then everything else sort of flows from there, okay? But then I screwed things up with a snap wrap, but that's a whole other story. So start your pel work from out of range and figure out a flat. 90% of SCA fights end in a flat snap. Okay? So get that, because that makes your opponent respect the headshot, makes him adjust his defense, and then go from there. Okay? So, boom. Now, when we're talking about fighting off weapons, let's talk about fighting against glaives and greatswords. Okay? What do they have on you? They have a point that can reach you before you can reach them, and their blade has range, right? And they're going to try and maintain that range until they want to change it. So they're going to stay where you can't hit them until they see the advantage, take the initiative, and then they're going to get where they want to be and hit you, right? So the idea, we used to be taught to run down that opponent, run down that great swordsman, run down the polearm guy. Running him down doesn't work. It's too chaotic, and it leaves you open to getting hit. Okay? You need to walk him down. So the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out the size of your field. Okay? If you got an endless field, good luck. But most of the places we fight these days, there are boundaries. Okay? If you run him through the ropes, like running down a polearmsman, there's going to be a big hold. You're going to center up. Sometimes they won't put him in the corner, and you're going to work all that. You're going to have done all that work for nothing. So let's see if we can walk him down methodically and in good stance. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the ring like a boxer. Okay? So we're not going to run at him. We're going to cut off the ring. And you're all defense. You're all defense until you get in sword and shield range. Okay? So you're going to walk him down. You know what he's got. He's got the poke to the face. He's got the J shot, right? So the J shot goes down, like looks for the leg, and comes up to the head. You know what he's got. So all you have to do.
Butt spike's going to come in.
Butt spike's going to come in. If he does the face thrust and you pass the range of the face thrust, he's going to double over the butt strike and try and spike you to the thigh on the way in, or spike you in the gut on the way in. All right. So you just have to keep your shield discipline and walk him down. Now the other thing that I see when fighters fight polearms and greatswords is hold that up like it's a polearm or greatsword. Okay? So here's the problem. We're used to fighting shields, right? We're trying to get over that edge of the shield. So is this ever going to cut through his polearm? It's not, right? It's never going to cut through. I don't care which side you go this side, it's not going to cut through. And this thing's 7.5 feet long, 6 feet long, whatever it is. And while you're doing that, he's waiting for you to pull, and he's going to butt spike you, right? Okay? So you need to be throwing around it and with the and along the same plane as the weapon, right?
By moving your feet.
Right. So we're going to move our feet
In small steps that are controlled.
So we're going to move our feet in little steps. So he's over here with this, right? And so I might go out and get contact with this thing, then get my shield on it. And I don't care. And he may want to be inside the shield. That's fine with me. Now, if he wants to then try and push through with the head, that's fine. I'm going to let him, and I'm going to do this, right? Or I'm going to resist him, and I'm going to chop down here. But we're not going to try and cut through that glaive.
Once you make contact with my glaive or my greatsword with your shield, when do you depart?
Never.
There you go.
Never.
Never. Once you get control of the weapon, do not surrender it. If that means you've got it with your sword, put your sword up there.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. And you need to transition it to your shield.
Exactly.
You step in and transition it. But you don't let me get away with it.
I will very frequently try and make contact with the sword and then get it to the shield edge, right? That's where we have to start, right? And then if I can do that, if I can get it with the shield edge and do that, that's great, right? Now that's a flat snap, not a wrap. So you know the angle was down, but I don't have a shield here, I have a pole arm, so I'm going mid-thigh, right? Then once I got him on the knees, I'm still not going to back up.
But the point is getting control of their weapon so that you can manipulate it from foot position and shield leverage is more important than throwing the winning blow. The winning blow will be there if you get the other parts of it done, and you can do it on your own terms. But if you're desperate and you start flailing, that's when you get exposed with a hip outside of a shield or a shield down low and you buy the J up into the head.
Right. Now, when you're attacking the two swords, especially the school that's sort of predominant right now, you need to quit attacking the outsides, right? People keep attacking the outside of this two-sword school, and that's it's just too easy to block, right? They got a probe with the left, they've got an easy hanging block with the right, which leads to a very quick flat snap, and then they're into combinations, okay? They have strong wraps. They have strong wraps from either side, and so you need to attack the centers. The center is always where the soft
this
part
area
is.
here. We're coming down to this, about this button, back up to the point of the shoulder here. This is the area that is for that two-sword style. They have to make a decision. Which sword is going to block it, which leg is going to drop back, and where are they going to surrender offense. So cutting into these areas, you may not win the fight cutting into those areas, but you're going to force your opponent to make a decision. If you throw into their swords, they don't have to make any decision at all. They get to win because your sword is going to be on the outside of one of theirs, and the next one's coming in, and that's going to tie your shield up, and as soon as this backs up, they get to come. So let's go that real slow. Let me throw at your right side just like this. So if I'm just going to throw a wrap at his head, a traditional lefty response to a two-sword. Woo! I got this with the shield, but guess what? As soon as I drop this sword, watch the right come right into my head, and this is on the shield already. The sword down there. That's all he's going to do. It's just that simple.
So it's a very effective style when practiced and executed properly. So the way you're going to have to pick it apart is go into the center. You got to attack the center.
The way you're going to beat it is to practice against it, and you won't beat it all the time. It's very solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's very solid, but you have to practice against it, and you have to be okay with losing, because you're going to lose a whole bunch in practice while you learn how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and with all styles, I'm here today because I've had great teachers and I've had great students. I've learned from both of them. You got to stay open, and you got to stay willing to say, am I doing this the right way? And that's the challenge of it. Is you look at the fighters who you want to say who have accomplished, stayed relevant through the years and those kind of things, almost every one of them have evolved and do things differently. I like to think that as a community, we're looking forward to that next person to come along and beat us so that we can learn what they did, add it to our repertoire, and then we want to fight them again. And with that mindset, it never gets old. It stays fun.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that Dietrich moved up to Ethelmark. I mean, you know,
Yep.
that's a hell of a practice partner right there.
That's a loss for Atlantia, because all of our fighters miss fighting with someone who can do those Milanese, who can do that long closing step so effectively. It's a great talent.
And he's got a battery that doesn't quit. I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it.
He's not very pretty though.
No,
No.
no,
Yes.
no,
I can't help that.
no.
No.
But he does all right.
Yeah.
He does all right. So,
Okay. I think that's what we got for these guys.
I think so. But Doug is going to log in on his Facebook, and if there are questions, we'll try and answer them. If there's anything you want to see. So Doug's going to go on his phone right now.
Well, we got 4 minutes.
All right. Doug's got a meeting. He's got king stuff to do.
Go ahead and keep talking.
So Doug's got king stuff to do. He's got a meeting in a little while. But if you've got any questions, you want to see anything on the Pell,
And if we don't get to it now, we'll get to it in the next 24 hours for sure.
virtual fighter practice.
I know.
Oh, groups.
Virtual fighter
That's
practice.
it. All right. I don't know. Nope, that's something else.
Ms. Alex is watching us.
No, they're doing a concert. That's
okay.
not us.
All right, so we flunked the test.
I'm going to go up here and see what I got up here. I'm going to post a copy. YouTube's being watched over coming months. Drills for two fighters to practice together. All right. Doug, you want to talk about drills for two fighters?
Yes.
All right.
This is a drill that Arthur and I have done through the years. We learned it from Duke Michael. I think it's a great drill. It works with the idea that how can you throw blows and have the sword control without having to look down at the target. So this drill, you typically do it with a sword and shield. You do it with an opponent who understands what the drill is. I'm going to be throwing at his leg. And I'm going to first throw wraps. I'm going to throw 10 of them. And if he sees me look down at his leg, he gets to throw at my head. But other than that, he's going to stand there, and I'm going to learn, and he's going to say low.
Low, knee.
He's going to say high.
Little close to the crotch. Nice.
And I'm going to throw these.
Good.
And I'm going to look at him in the eye.
Good.
And as I get more confidence,
Good.
we're going to do this drill every week.
Good.
And we're going to
Good.
do it at full speed and full force. Okay? Then, may back up and do the exact same thing with a snap. Driving it down there.
Good. 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 Good.
And when he sees me cheat,
Boom.
he gets, because standing there and taking 10 blows, you at least want to feel like you might get to do something. So the next part of that is I'm going to stand up here, and he's going to do the same thing.
Then we'll give you a combo.
But this is about you guys telling each other what's going on, trusting each other enough that you're not going to accept blows that are flat. You're not going to accept blows that are too light when you go to full speed. You're going to want your opponent to throw what a good blow is. And this is how we learn to do it and learn to do it safely with each other.
And this is where you find out that you're throwing your offsides like a fly swatter. See how that's not edge on? You got an opponent who's willing to take 10 of them.
Right. Flat.
And he's okay.
Good.
Okay.
Flat.
All right.
Flat. I mean good.
Okay. Now when I do this and I go down to here,
Flat.
flat. You see, I went to the leg wrap and I just swatted him with the flat of the blade instead of turning the hand.
My job in this is not to block. My job is to be a living pal and give feedback back. And if he cheats too bad, to have a punishment for it. So, he looked down, I hit him. Right? Now, I don't want to knock his teeth out, but I do want to make it firm enough to say, you've just hit me 20 times. Thank God I got to hit you once. I mean, we're all just people.
A consequence, a negative reinforcement works. It works, you know?
But we've worked this way for years and years. I believe in this method. I think it really helps you refine. You learn what's the difference between bending your knees and not flexing your knees. So,
If there's anything else here.
with that, I got to go.
All right. Anton has a meeting.
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you, Cuan.
Anton has a meeting. Thank you, Anton. Anton has a meeting he has to go to, a telephone meeting with the Great Officers Estate. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Other than going to work, there's not a lot to do these days, SCA-wise.
Fix your kit.
But yeah, fix your kit, work on your stuff. I'm going to get around to that really, really soon. Repaint your shield.
No excuses for bad armor after this.
And be ready for Penzic. All right, let's see. Anybody else? Okay. So we did the drills. Okay. All right. That's it. We're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know how to turn this off, but finish.